scheming rats. I turned my back for 1 second.
Tyson, it's fine.
It's not fine. Don't ever do that again.
Do what?
I told you not to fuss, but you just won't listen, will you? Now someone has got into the lab.
No one got into the lab, Tyson. I just checked.
No one stands guard except you. Do you understand? You make sure the lab is secure and leave me to look after myself.
So welcome to Series 2, Episode 8 of Conversational Legal Mountain, a podcast about the tribe. I'm your host, Lance, and joining me on the podcast panel today is Liz.
Hello.
Sabine.
Hi.
And Colin.
What up?
With episode notes done by Matt and myself. So Series 2, Episode 8, the screenplay was done by Robin Charteris. It was directed by John Reed, and the episode synopsis were read out by Colin.
Under pressure from Alice, Tai-San finally admits she is sick, but her refusal to stop working could prove deadly when her impaired sense of smell prevents her from detecting a gas leak in the lab. Danny develops an interest in Jack and Ellie's investigations, while Patsy secures a job as Brady's childminder with dangerous consequences.
Okay, panel, let's jump straight into by talking about Patsy, because she starts off this episode complaining about being bossed around by Ebony off screen, but she then bumps into KC, discovers that he has been taking photographs of Tai-San's lab. But rather than reporting him, she makes him run errands for her in exchange for her silence. So yeah, panel, what did you make of Patsy's behaviour here? Do you think it was reasonable, or do you think the power was beginning to corrupt her a little bit too much?
She was enjoying herself. She'd been told what to do all the time. And here she is, in a place of power, having the chance to let someone else do her dirty work for once. You know? So yeah, I think she was just enjoying herself while she had something over someone else that she could use.
Yeah, when you give someone the power to do what they always wanted, you find out what they always wanted. Patsy just wants to be able to boss someone else around instead of being the one being bossed around. It's petty, it's childish, it's very in character.
Suitable for her age.
Yep.
Yeah, it's clear here that Tai-San's influence is affecting everybody in the tribe. It also goes to show that I think every character on this show, whether they be a nice person or a bad person, everyone kind of has an interior motive and they want something in return. Whether it's small or big, but everyone does want something.
We had the dynamic of a brother and sister. Like, if you caught your sibling doing something they're not supposed to, and they're like, please don't tell mom and dad. And what do you do with that? You're like, well, I don't feel like doing the dishes after dinner. And
it's time to extort.
Fine, I'll do your dishes. Just don't tell mom. And it's like, okay, you have to do my dishes for 3 days, and I won't say anything. You know, it's just sibling currency, you know.
Yeah, and that's how they're living, like siblings.
Yeah. That's what it felt like to me. It didn't feel like dark or, oh, she's so corrupted. Like, I think she would have done this regardless. Like, this is just the way these kids interact with each other, you know? They traded chores in season 1, you know?
That's funny. The next time Ebony blackmails somebody over some information, I'm just going to say she's just being a big sister.
Yeah, but that's different. Ebony is of an age where she knows that it's wrong, whereas Patsy is still allowed the tiny things of childhood that make it
she's
normal for her to do
enough. I said she's old enough to know what blackmail is.
I think the way Ebony extorts people compared to what Patsy's doing right now are not comparable.
Sure, yeah, one's smaller than the other, but
all Patsy wants is going, please get me a drink. Ebony's extortion hurts people. Hers does damage. They're not the same, at least not in my eyes.
I can understand that. One's very, small in mine, but it all starts somewhere.
Yeah, but come on, making someone make you hot chocolate.
That's like saying if a kid steals a candy bar, then they're going to grow up to be a master thief because it's a gateway crime. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not.
Very true.
I guess my issue is more like, it's not the extortion of KC. It's more that she didn't tell any of the older kids what he'd done, because it's actually quite serious.
Yeah, that's a very careless, dangerous thing. But again, it feels like something a kid would do, an assumption a child would make, like in the way Casey doesn't assume that the things he's doing in the lab could be dangerous, like messing with things. I'm not surprised that he wouldn't think that far ahead. I'm not surprised that Patsy would look at this and just make the assumption that, of course, Casey's sneaking around in there, but it's not like he's going to find out anything. You know what I mean? Like, that's clearly where her brain is, and she doesn't see any real harm in it. Again, not smart, because, you know, an adult or an older person would recognize that that could be a problem, but she's just thinking like a kid, like, he's never going to figure that out. That's just something Casey would do. Of course he's going to try and find the answer, but he probably won't, so who cares, you know, and not thinking ahead, you know.
She doesn't see it as something big and dangerous. You know, remember season 1 with Chloe and Bray? You know, she knew she was seeing something dangerous. Bray asked her not to tell. She didn't tell anyone about Zoot.
I was going to say, that's the difference between the younger kids. Like, if Chloe had been in that situation, she would have told.
Yeah, but, you know, Patsy has never been one to instantly go tell someone unless it was in her benefit.
Yeah, it does go to show her kind of upbringing and personality, yeah.
I'm just curious. I wonder how Chloe would have responded in that position, because I find it harder to believe that Chloe would ignore the potential danger of Casey's behavior, because she and Patsy are very different that way. Like, I'm not surprised that Patsy ignored it, but I would be surprised if Chloe had, if she'd been, you know, in that position instead and just said, oh, whatever, you know. I feel like Chloe would have been more like, what are you doing, Casey? She would have called him out. You know, they might have had an argument about it or something. He would have had to try to convince her that what he, you know, did wasn't a big deal or whatever.
Yeah, but Chloe has already realized the danger of keeping such secrets.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think that's interesting about them, that she would definitely respond differently, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
It's an interesting thought, actually. Like, so go back to like Patsy's behavior. Like, do you think she'd done this with Paul before? It doesn't kind of feel like she would have, but
Well, look at what they did to Jack.
Oh, you know what? She has. Yeah, right. Yeah, with Jack, she has. She was totally blackmailing him.
Oh, that's true. I was just trying to picture her with Paul doing the same thing next door.
Oh.
On your dynamic you have with a sibling. Like, some siblings are kind of the pet of the family. Like, they're the cricket on the hearth. They're the Beth. Nobody plays pranks on them. You know, they're the gentle sibling that everybody is very sweet to. And there's just things you would never do to that sibling, because it's kind of like the rule, you know. I have a cousin who's like that. Like, she's the baby. Everybody, you know, pampers her. We just all adore her. We let her get away with murder. I don't know why. Maybe she just looks really cute and always has. She's just always had that role. So, like, I treat my brothers a little differently, even though they're very close in age. One is my baby brother. One is my little brother. I can fight with my little brother. You know, even when we were little, we'd punch it out and get it out, and that we were on equal footing. That's how we saw each other. But my baby brother, I would never do that with my baby brother. He's the one I have to protect and stuff like that. So, it's possible that Patsy never looked at Paul, like, she was very protective of Paul. So there's things she would have never done to him because he was a pet of the family, you know, and as just a theory, like a possibility, because we don't ever see her be that way with Paul personally. Then again, she never tries to extort Chloe either. So maybe she just thinks it's okay to do to certain people, you know.
People she knows she can manipulate.
Like Jack, who's hiding food. Oh, okay. And he's not nice to me and my brother, and he won't give us food when we want it. Then in her mind, it's totally okay to extort him and do that. You know, Casey, she's always had a problem with Casey, and Casey's always getting into trouble. So in her mind, he's an okay person to do that to. She'd never do it to Chloe, though, you know.
The miracle cure from Bray.
Thanks.
How are you feeling, Tyson?
Anyone would think I was dying.
What you need is lots of rest and pampering. Just put your feet up and leave everything to me. To us.
An ill Tysan is forced to admit that she's not well after Alice catches her out by giving her flowers that she can't smell. And she finally agrees to take the antidote while Alice and Danny share the role of protecting both Tysan and the lab in order to keep Ebony and her militia from muscling in. But yeah, panel, like, were any of you surprised that Tysan finally took the antidote and, like, couldn't heal herself? And yeah, how much of a threat did you think Ebony posed during that moment?
I didn't think Ebony was much of a threat. It was just reminding us that she has this goal. It's just a reminder that Ebony's goal is to get her hands on that antidote. Just want to remind you that that's an issue to set up the plot of this. Just remind us that everybody still wants this stuff. They're still not pleased with the fact that Taisan's the only one who has it. So I didn't think she was too much of a threat in this episode. Just reminding us that she's mold. She's still growing behind the walls. She's there. You're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah, Ebony didn't really have that big of a role this episode, which is kind of surprising. But yeah, every episode she's a threat to the Mallrats, and it's always reminded. But it's great that she's living with them all, though, because at that point they know what she's up to.
Yes, he's one of those keep your enemies close.
Yeah.
It also is meant to dull, what is that? A false sense of security. It's meant to dull your senses of the threat that Ebony actually poses. If you keep just reminding us, in these quiet ways that she's there, but she's not succeeding yet at what she wants, you're going to be surprised when she finally gets her leverage. You're not going to be prepared for when she finally gets her leverage. You knew this is what she was trying to do, but you were lulled into a false sense of security about it. Like, oh, she'll never be able to. And then so when she does, you're like, oh, why didn't I see this coming? And it's like, because you kept ignoring it. You just got used to her doing this. So that's really smart writing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Taisan finally taking that antidote. I don't think I was surprised per se, because she's making it, so she knows exactly what's in it, and because she knows it's fully herbal, she's willing to take it.
Well, she won't even admit to herself that she's got the virus.
Yeah.
She still refuses to even accept that.
Yeah, but she knows it won't, taking this won't hurt her, and, well, if it shuts the other two up, then that's what she'll do to get them off her back.
That doesn't sound like Taisan at all.
Yeah, she's so stubborn.
I am really curious as to what's going on in the back of Taisan's mind about all this, because it's never addressed. Taisan believed she had the virus. She believed that, and she believed she cured herself from it. And so much that she believed this, she told Lex, don't take that stuff from Hope Island. I can cure you. I cured myself. You can do the same thing. She was still in denial when Lex came back and clearly wasn't cured, and was forced to take the stuff from Hope Island. And even then, she was still clinging to it. Like, when he started getting better, she's like, I cured him. And it's like, no, you didn't, Taisan. It is so obvious that you didn't cure him. But she's clinging to it. She's clinging to this belief that she must be right about this, all the way to finding the actual formula and getting rid of it before she even knows she can make this stuff, before she's even at least tried it. And because she doesn't believe it should be able to work anyway. And all of this, and just refusing to take it because, again, even though she was the one who made it, she never takes it. And now I just think it's interesting that here she is, and it's like she's clearly sick, and she's just willing to say, fine, I'll take this to get better. I'll take it because it'll make you guys shut up. But I can't help but wonder if somewhere in her mind she knows she was wrong all along. She doesn't want to admit it, but she knows she was wrong. And she has no choice but to take this stuff. It's easier for her to swallow because she made it, but if you still don't believe you have the virus and you still don't believe that an antidote's necessary for it, why would you take it, Taisan? I just want to walk inside her brain.
Yeah, maybe she's not conscious of it, which could lead to why she has like the biggest ego in all of the entire series. Yeah, she's very stubborn.
Wouldn't go that far, but I just found it very interesting that it's never addressed. It's never brought up. It's almost like they forgot season 1 happened in her behavior with this stuff. And she just lays down. Okay, fine. I'm sick. I'll take it if it'll make you people happy. And I'm like, wow, that's a role reversal for you. I mean, you weren't even afraid that you could die before when you were sick. And now you just want to get Alice and Danny off your back so you'll take this. I'm like, you must be feeling really terrible. You must be feeling really bad and convinced. You've been convinced by now that this stuff is necessary. You're not going to admit it. You're never going to admit you were wrong. But yeah, I just found that that was the thing that got me. Like, wow.
Yeah, but this whole thing with Alice taking care of her, it's the first time someone's actually taken care of this girl. At least that's how it looks to me. You know, she's not used to that.
She isn't used to it, which is why she lashes out at Alice later. But I don't think that has anything to do with her taking it. I just don't. I feel like she realized somewhere along the way that she was wrong, but she's never gonna be able to admit that out loud. So she just continues as if she never had made that declaration, which people do. People do that a lot. They'll make a really bad, like, hot take on something, and then when they're proven wrong, they're not going to address it. They'll just silently change their mind, but not tell anybody or express the fact that I was wrong before. Like, I see you, Tyson.
Now, look, these are a good start. A very good start. But there's one thing your pictures don't show us, and that's how she measures the blend.
So we've still got to go in the lab.
Only one problem.
What?
Well, how do we get into the lab when Alice, the big unfriendly giant's on guard?
Okay, we'll come back to Tyson again in a moment, but Casey's scheme with the photographs. So he ends up showing Lex the outcome of his plans, but Lex discovers that they still need more information about how the antidote is actually made, which means gaining access to the lab itself. Casey plans to take advantage of Alice's fondness for Lex and succeeds in distracting her long enough to get inside. So yeah, panel, again, we've talked quite a lot about, obviously, Casey's planning skills, but what do you think of this plan, and did you think Alice was a bit naive to fall for it?
This was this freaking plan. This plan, I guess it's okay as far as a plot device, I mean, that's the only reason this is happening. So we can move the plot forward to Tyson being forced to have to share the antidote. That's the only reason why this happens. We have to put Tyson in danger. So that choice has to come up. So fine, I guess as a plot device, this works. It's not a great plan. I don't know what Casey's doing in there. I would understand if he was in the lab taking pictures, like trying to figure out what her process is and taking images of her process so they can study them later. But all he's doing is looking at her test tubes and fiddling with stuff. And I'm like, what are you gaining from this?
Yeah.
You're here for literally 30 seconds. Take pictures. Don't just poke at stuff. That's not teach. So I don't think the plan's great. It just feels like a plot device. Alice believing Casey and leaving the lab. I don't know. I don't feel like that's something she'd do.
I don't think she'd ever let Casey guard it.
Right. Stay here. Like, what? You've already decided you don't trust this kid. You don't like him. Again, it's everything about it. It's fine. It does what it has to do, but it just feels like something that has to happen so that the next plot point can go forward. That's all. And so it's not impressive, but it works, I guess.
Right.
It would have made so much more sense if she would have asked anyone else to just watch it for a moment, or just tell Casey to go get Lex for her then, if it's that urgent.
Yeah, I can't see her wandering off to go see Lex like this under this situation.
She's not that desperate.
This is one of those situations where I just feel like the characters are doing what the plot needs them to do, and it's fine. Like I said, it does the job. It's just not really impressive. It's like, okay, fine.
Yeah, but they're trying to make her seem desperate for Lex in this moment, and that's just, I hate that.
Right.
That's what annoys me most about this. Not even that she left Casey there, but that they make her seem so desperate to be with Lex that they would let her leave her post when it's something that goes against everything Alice would normally do.
It doesn't even work because Alice hasn't shown any interest in Lex yet.
Mm-hmm.
When she says things like Lexi baby, she's just teasing. She's not, you know what I mean? So it's like, it doesn't even work if that's what they were going for, because she hasn't shown an actual interest in Lex. So why would she be so desperate to speak to him that she'd leave her post, maybe later, but not right now.
Right. Am I the only one that kind of feels like Casey and Lex are a really bad cartoon? In a sense, they get into their everyday things, devious things, we're gonna get rich, we're gonna get a scam going, and it plays out the same way every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. It's kind of a little bit. It's a little kind of sad just to see Casey snooping around and trying to follow Lex's scheme in a grand sense, because again, I'm sure he probably wouldn't be doing this if he just had maybe if he picked a better role model, or if Bray wasn't so mean to him to the fact maybe he could have been his role model.
It feels like busy work.
Mm-hmm.
It's busy work that serves a purpose and makes sense for the characters, but it still just feels like busy work, you know?
Right.
Like, we need to give these guys something to do. What would they be doing in the background? And we need, you know, to push Tysan into a position where she has to tell everybody or tell someone about the end. So why don't we just have them do something really stupid? And that's it. That's what it just feels like to me. It's just housekeeping in the writing. Oh, yeah, you know. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just, it's fine. I guess it works, but I'm not impressed with the storyline.
I'm going to jump on the it's bad bandwagon because no offense to Robin, but yeah, that was quite a bad scene. I thought Alice would never have left a post like that. The one saving grace, I do like how she kept the key and laughed in his face. That was nice. That was Alice, but the rest, she wouldn't have left it. She wouldn't have left it. Simple as that. She would not have left the scene because of what Casey said. And then the other weird thing was that how the lab somehow locked itself after he left. Even opened the door. That was.
He didn't even lock it.
What happened there?
Okay, whatever. So I said it's like it's serviceable, but it's not well done.
I mean, this is going back to like GCSE science, but like when you turn on a Bunsen burner, you can hear the hiss of the gas. How she could not hear that?
It's such an annoying sound.
It's very distinct. Like the more I know, everyone's downstairs getting the antidote, but you can hear that. It's not a sound you can't hear.
That's true.
Not to mention, you have to remember where her lab is in the footprint of the mall. She's the furthest away from the grill. You know what I mean? It is very quiet in that part of the mall. You know, so
she would have heard it.
She definitely would have heard the hissing of that thing. But again, it's just like Casey doesn't do anything in there that makes any sense. His only role was to get in there and turn on that Bunsen burner, and then immediately have to run out. You know, so it's just okay, just a plot device to get us from here to there.
Actually, yeah, the other thing that kind of spirals on for that. Obviously, we have to assume that he got a photograph of the third missing ingredient. Like, were you anyone disappointed that wasn't explored more, or
that's what they? You know what? If I think too hard about the fact that this thing is made from 3 different ingredients, my head is going to blow up. So,
yeah, they're idiots. And then they picked them anyway. I'm sure everyone should know what the ingredients are. It's just in what quantity.
No, she's picking the last one herself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
It's just, again, plot device. That's all it is.
Which is very strange at this point in time because everyone knows Tysan is the one who makes this stuff. If she's taking guards, those guards would know what she's picking or what it looks like.
You know what? If they, I'm not saying maybe Bray wouldn't have done it or not, but if they would have if Casey and Lex would have went to Bray and said, hey, we need to know what that third ingredient is because it's a safety hazard. If something happens to Tysan, then we can all be at risk. And I think Bray, being a decent leader, he would have been like, you know what? That makes sense. But I can't encourage spying on Tysan or whatever. So if you get caught, you know, don't look for me to bail you out.
I can't see him saying that, but I totally think that conversation could have happened.
Yeah,
I do think it should have happened, but again, it can't be Lex bringing it up because people don't trust Lex, even when he is making sense. They assume the worst of his motivations because they're usually right about that, so they don't listen to him. You know, I do think there should have been an intelligent conversation among people about the fact, well, if she is the only one who knows this, what happens if she gets hurt or whatever? But I'm
actually surprised they didn't have that conversation the moment she got sick.
I guess they were just figuring, it's like Ellie said, they have the antidote, so they just don't care anymore. Like, oh, it's fine. Even if she's sick, we can fix it, so it's not a big deal. And it's not until she almost dies from an explosion that they're like, oh, wait, there's other ways she could get hurt, you know?
She got blown up.
Back in the government building, Jack and Ellie are close to giving up on their search for answers to the origin of the virus when they suddenly discover an unraveled video. Thinking it could provide clues to whatever was being covered up, they take it back to the mall and attempt to wind it back onto the cassette. but Danny has taken a sudden interest in what they are doing and doesn't seem happy. So yeah, panel, just trying to remember, thinking back when you originally watched it, did you pick up on the clues that the way she was acting was very suspicious?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so obvious. I didn't know what she was hiding, but with things like this, it became clearer and clearer that she really did not want them looking into what happened. I didn't know why, but it was clear that she didn't want them to find out.
Mm-hmm.
That was an instant red flag, because it's one thing for people to simply not care where the virus came from and to be indifferent, or even to tell Ellie and Jack that what they're doing is pointless. Like, that's what you'd expect from most people, because they just don't care. They're uninterested. They're indifferent. But she not only cares, but she doesn't want them to look into it. And it's like, why would that be? What do you know? What are you hiding? And since I had, again, simultaneously watching season 3 and this one at the same time, and I knew Danny, she just wasn't in season 3. I didn't see her. I'm like, where is this girl? So at this point I was like, ooh, Danny, a bad guy. What's gonna happen with this girl? You know, I immediately started to suspect her. I'm like, yeah, she showed up out of nowhere. She's obsessed with this antidote. She wants to take over, and she doesn't want anyone to find out where it came from. That's too many red flags, girl. Too many.
I think when I first watched it, I was like super annoyed and frustrated because already, 8 episodes in, I didn't like her character. I believe she was a replacement. And from the fact that now it's filled my head that she might be hiding something from the tribe. Again, it's red flags. And I was telling myself, like, oh, Danny, you better hope we do not find out that you're hiding something that endangers the tribe. Because at that point, I don't know. They just need to kick her out.
But it's like the first real interesting thing about Danny. Because at this point, she's just this girl who showed up and is filling Amber's shoes. And it's just like, you either like her or you don't. But she's actually kind of boring, you know? It's just like, okay, I guess she's just a nice girl who wants to help. All right, Amber, point 2, you know? So the minute she shows us, like, a red flag of maybe there's something not right about her, she gets interesting. I'll give her that. Like, oh, okay. Maybe you aren't just a soft shoe, I don't know, doughy replacement. Maybe there's actually going to be something interesting about you that makes you stand out. Bring it. I want to see what this is. Give me another reason to hate you. I'm for it.
Yeah.
Because if any other character would have behaved that way, I would have just thought, okay, they just someone like Celine feels severely traumatized by what happened, doesn't want to know if it could have been prevented, you know? But from Danny, it's so obvious that it's not due to not wanting to know, because she always wants to know everything. So it's really strange that she does not want them to know this, which means she already knows what's going on.
Right. And you can kind of tell that episode, like throughout the whole day, she was looking kind of annoyed. That little scene she had with Bray, that was kind of weird. When he gave her like a gift or whatever, she kind of had a look on her face that she's like, hey, you're coming on a little too strong.
Save it for someone who's worth it.
Yeah, or someone who'll be here for season 3.
I do like how Danny's reaction mirrors something that Jack had said to Ellie last episode, I believe it was, when he tells her, what if we don't like the answer we get? You know, we've been getting little breadcrumbs about that too, that the answer to this isn't going to make people feel good. It's not going to give you a sense of resolution. You know, it's going to be upsetting. So I like that. You know, not only has we had a couple characters mention that they don't want to know, maybe we won't like hearing what we find out. And then here's Danny, who seriously doesn't want them to know. And it's like, what made the virus? We got to get to the bottom of this. You know, where did this come from? I was immediately thinking government project went bad, maybe military or something. That was my first thought. Like, they're always making deadly viruses to use in warfare. So why wouldn't this be the case? And it just backfired on us.
You know what I thought where it came from? Because I immediately actually just got done watching that Dustin Hoffman movie, Outbreak. I thought it came from like a monkey.
Well, again, in that movie, they explore the fact that this stuff had come out before. Our government hid it and still had the stuff on tap, for Pete's sake. You know what I mean?
Very true.
And yeah, what did everyone feel about Jack and Ellie getting closer and the little scenes they had together?
Cute. It's nice building.
At this point in time, I like them together.
Yeah.
This is This is the start of the second greatest relationship ever in the Tribe series. The first being Jack and Dale.
Yeah, I like it. I like the conversations they have. They're very intelligent, very interesting. They tell you a lot about who they are. I like it's a much more healthy way of challenging each other compared to him and Dal. You know, I like how Ellie is sparring with Jack, where Dal was far more likely to lean against the ropes and let Jack punch himself out, unless Jack, broke a rule in the game, and then Dal would be like, all right, that's it. And he'd have to knock him back and give him a good jab or something. And Jack would be like, oh, sorry, I came to my senses. And I like how Ellie's laying the groundwork from the very start. I won't be your sidekick. The relationship you had with Dal isn't the one you're going to be having with me. I have higher expectations. I'm looking for a partnership. And I really do like that's how the conversation, shows that this is what's going to come down the line with Ellie and Jack. Even if they were only friends, it would definitely be on more equal footing than he has with anybody else, and you can see Jack's fascination with that. While she's willing to put up with Jack in the same way Dal was, she still has a line in the sand that Jack can't cross. Like, hey, I get that you're abrasive, but you're still going to treat me with respect, okay? And Jack's like, oh, okay. Okay, so you like me as I am, but you just, I have to behave. That's fine. Okay, I can do that. And I like that about them. Very egalitarian.
I just love it when Ellie just keeps pointing out that Jack is being a bit of a, anti-feminist?
Male chauvinist,
Yeah.
misogynist,
Yeah, I love season 2 Ellie. She's fantastic in this one.
By watching it again, I'm actually starting to appreciate her again.
Tyson?
Leave me alone.
Tyson, I'm serious. You've got to come out. Tyson, I can smell gas. Tyson, come out.
So back at the mall, angry at Alice for deserting her post, Tai-san returns to work, unable to trust anyone else to protect the lab. However, since she's unable to smell due to her illness, she doesn't realise that Casey's left the gas on, and Alice's warning comes a little too late to prevent the resulting explosion. So panel, first of all, did anyone feel her anger at Alice was justified?
It felt just like the stupid plot line with Casey and Lex. Like, it just has to be here so the plot will move forward.
She was acting like such a sulky little child. And
That's
even
not a character.
Yeah. And even when Alice just called out to her with something's wrong, she just kept on ignoring her. Because Alice shouted that she could smell gas before Tai-san even struck that match.
I know, like, if someone's shouting gas, who out you?
Even if you're that mad at them, I'm ignoring you.
Showing us that she's usually like this, or this is how she deals with her emotions. You know what I mean? So that feels out of character. It just feels like, oh, we need Tai-san to have a reason not to listen to Alice's warning. So we'll have her be super mad at her over this. Like, out of character mad at her, so that she's refusing to listen to Alice. And I'm just like, okay, I guess it got you where you needed to go.
She's acting Trudy level annoyed.
Without a good reason for it. I'm like, okay, this is alright. I've never seen you react this way over such a minor mistake, but fine.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am grateful for this scene because memory loss Tai-san is the best Tai-san. She's nicer. She doesn't complain. She's kind of like less spiritual in a sense from what she was. Yeah, she's like a decent person. So, yeah, that's fantastic that we can get that kind of Tai-san.
I don't agree. I feel like she's, Tai-san is a decent person. I understand that she's confusing to people, but I grew up with people like Tai-san, so she doesn't seem that weird to me. All the things that she does, like, you guys will say, how does she do this? And I'm like, I grew up with people who do this, so it seems very normal to me. And So sometimes I feel just a little like, you guys leave her alone. She's a decent human being. She's not evil. She's not diabolical. Be nice to her. Come on, just can you cut her a break, like for one episode, guys? Just a little bit.
Never. No.
No.
That's asking a lot.
I'm gonna remember this.
Hey, I'm not gonna ask you to be nicer about evil chosen people.
You should remember it. Ask Casey to take a picture of it for you.
All right, Felicia, I got you.
So yeah, the explosion itself, like, what did people think was going to happen?
I thought she was dead.
Or at least severely burned.
Right.
That was my first thought. She must be dead. Like, oh my gosh, they killed another cast member this fast. She should be dead.
Because it was so obvious that this was what was going to happen the moment we saw Casey fiddling with a burner.
And that, like, flash fire was huge, so, like, you think she'd burn or badly disfigured or something.
Blinded at the very least.
Yeah.
I did like the effect, even if I thought the storyline was a little like, okay, I recognize what you guys are doing. I thought the effects was nice. Like, that looked like a really nice explosion. I'll give them that.
Yeah, good practical effects.
Good fire stunt, you guys. I like that. Bold one, especially since you just killed 2 people in an explosion like 8 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Where was those practical effects?
Oh boy, they're like we weren't able to show what happened on Eagle Mountain, so
we're gonna play with fire now.
We got a bigger budget now, and let's do this. And
that's crazy.
I liked Alice's acting, like her frantic cry for Tyson, just that desperate Tyson, I smell gas. Tyson, please listen to me. You know, I know you're mad, but I thought that was really well handled too. Like the acting was good.
I was actually surprised that Alice didn't kick the door down.
Probably just didn't think of it fast enough. You know, you're panicking in that moment.
Yeah.
Also, when I first watched this scene and I saw that Tyson blew up, immediately I was like, what an idiot.
I love how they set up the fact that she wouldn't be able to smell the gas, though. That was smart.
Yeah.
Because my first thought was, why can't she smell that? You know? And then I was like, oh, she's still not feeling well. She's not even supposed to be out of bed. Her and Alice just had this conversation. And of course she's like, oh, you know, if you want me to stay in bed, you better keep your eye on me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that was really smart. And she's in there. Literally, she doesn't smell it because she can't smell.
That's so funny you say that, because she was like smelling ground coffee a little bit earlier, which was a little weird.
Don't think about it.
Yeah, nah.
She was probably trying to smell it. Like, I'm still not getting anything.
Maybe. But yeah, probably.
Patsy! What's wrong?
Charlie! Brady!
Okay, that brings us to our final thoughts of the episodes. So, looking for a way out from Ebony's thumb, Patsy succeeds in landing the job as Brady's childminder. Whilst on a trip outside, however, Brady is taken by the Chosen, who have been watching them all throughout the episode. So, panel, what did you make of the dramatic ending, and what do you think the fallout from this could be?
Brady! No! They took Brady!
Of all the things I expected to happen, I will admit, this is not one of them. I never thought Brady was going to be put in any kind of danger. You know, I was, oh my gosh, this is just a nightmare. I felt bad for everyone involved at this moment. And it was just this moment of helplessness when you see the empty pram and knowing that how are you going to find this kid? You know what I mean? Like, it just hit me all at once. Like, who would take her? Because I'm dumb. I didn't make the connection between the Chosen and Brady. I knew someone was spying on them. But I didn't connect it with Brady. I'm an idiot. And, I was just this shock of, they went after the baby. I wasn't expecting that. I thought maybe, something could have happened to Patsy, but the baby? Oh my word. No, you can't do anything to the baby. How do you get the baby back? Oh, she can't even help herself. Ooh, that was actually a genuinely frightening moment of horror, I think, that the show captures. just real life horror.
Yeah. Whenever I rewatch season 2, I always hate to watch this episode, or especially the ending, just when Brady gets kidnapped and seeing Trudy in such a state. It's not really that fun to watch, but it is. Again, it's great acting from everybody, and
It is, but it breaks my heart every time.
it's so hard to watch. It's so hard to watch. And someone in the YouTube comments was saying this was all Trudy's fault because she was too busy flirting with Bray.
No,
I'm
not going to be cool with that.
I'm going to jump right in and defend her now because no, that was not. She was not doing flirting.
Even if Trudy had been flirting, okay, which I don't think she was, that's not fair to blame her. She hired someone to take care of her child. The whole purpose was so that she could actually do something else, okay? And if you hire a babysitter or a nanny or someone to look after your kids, it's with the understanding that you can take your eye off your child. You are entrusting them with your child's life. And that's the reason you hired them, so you could get a freaking break and maybe hit on that guy that you haven't had the time for. And it's like, are you blaming every parent who goes out for an evening and leaves their children in the care of someone else? Oh, it's their fault. They shouldn't have gone anywhere. They were too busy not watching their own kids. And it's like, Trudy had every right to believe her daughter would be safe because that's why she asked Patsy to take care of her. She didn't ask Patsy to babysit. Patsy volunteered. Okay, I want it clear. I'm not blaming Patsy, but I'm just saying it's certainly not Trudy's fault this happened. Like, to the commenter, as a mother, step off with that. I don't think so.
Must be someone without kids of their own.
Trudy's allowed to get herself some play. Okay.
That's true. I still don't know why she keeps going for Bray.
She's in love with him.
And I mean, even in this moment, she just tells him that he's just a very dear friend to her, and that she feels bad that he's all alone.
I think she's just trying to reconnect with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. Like, she's desperate to be close to him again. She had a wonderful relationship with him, and yes, she was in love with him, and she was childish about it, but it went pear-shaped, and it was awful, and the two of them had to literally stay away from each other while they dealt with all those painful feelings. And here's Trudy feeling healed and probably thinking, Bray didn't come to me. He probably felt like he couldn't when he was mourning Amber. Maybe I need to bridge the gap between us so that he knows I'm still here. I'm still his friend and I still care about him. And I don't like this distance between us anymore. And all the hurt feelings are gone. And she's taking the opportunity to reach out to him, and which makes this all so much more tragic. Because it's like, Trudy's in a good place right now. And she's just trying to do something nice for herself. And then, nope, plot's going to take a big dump on your happiness.
Because he even mentions that he's finally in a good place.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It always seems like whenever everything is going well, it seems like Trudy's about to suffer.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because she's just not allowed her happiness.
No.
Yep. Writers always dump on her quite bad.
Why?
It's like a State Farm commercial.
This poor girl alone. It's a well orchestrated scene, though. Really well done. Very unexpected. I knew someone was spying on them, and that this person heard them say they were going out. But I never thought. I was too stupid. I just didn't think Brady was in any danger. I was like, wonder why they're. I should have figured it out. The framing of the shot. There's Brady in her pram alone, and then you see this person running in the background. I didn't think they touched the baby.
But just a bit before that, when they were still in the mall, and we see this cloaked person climbing down into the sewers.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
For a moment there, I was fairly freaked out because that wasn't a chosen robe that person was wearing. That was a cloak similar to Zoot's.
It was Zoot. It was a shot of Zoot the first time it came in the mall.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. That's why.
My first instinct was, but that's Zoot. Is he still alive then?
They reused a few shots in this episode.
Yeah.
I know, but for me, it gave that moment of, is he still alive?
I can see that.
Oh, wait, is he going after the baby?
That would have been cool. Coming back for my kid.
I'm also sick and tired of the inconsistent security at the mall too, because clearly someone should have been in the sewers guarding it, or just somewhere.
Those are Ebony's boys. They suck.
Yeah,
They suck so bad. I'm with Trudy. What's the point of letting these creeps in here if they don't actually protect us from anything?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why aren't the sewers guarded or locked or something? How was a stranger able to just come in the sewers?
Oh, that's simple. If it was a chosen, they would just go, "Hey, buddy, I'm coming in. I need to see Ebony."
mm-hmm.
But that's not what this person's clearly sneaking around.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no sign of anyone in that vicinity. So
I didn't understand the reason for that, because he could have just walked through the front door and stayed at the back. There was no.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why he had to come through the sewers.
I think it's because Bob had been barking. Like every time one of these people is following the Mallrats around, Bob notices them and barks. You know what I mean? So I get the sense that they didn't want to draw attention to themselves. Eventually, someone's going to be like, "Who's the dog barking at?" You know what I mean? And as soon as that happens, they disappear. They're like, "Oh crap! I got the attention of the dog." You know? So it's probably why they tried to come in through the back.
Mm.
And that's why they struck when it was just Trudy, and Patsy out there with Brady. No Bob.
Yeah, why didn't Bob go?
Because Patsy's not big on. She's not the one who spends time with Bob. It's always Chloe.
Yeah.
You see that Chloe's the one who's even though it's Patsy's dog, Chloe's the one who's attached to Bob the most, and she's the one who spends all her time with Bob. And it's Chloe who's out playing with him, out walking him, or Patsy's doing other stuff. You know.
I always wondered about that. I wondered if was he truly Patsy's dog, or was he more Paul's dog? You know, and maybe spending constant time with Bob is just something she does not want to do because she doesn't want the constant reminder of her brother being gone.
I just assumed it was the disinterest that many young kids may get about their pets after a while. You know, she's at an age where I completely buy her not being interested in playing with her dog, where Chloe has always had an affinity to animals, regardless. And
she's tired of her responsibility.
She wants to do something more grown up, you know.
Yeah, she wants to play with the
I gotta
baby.
feed him again?
Yeah, let's feed the baby instead.
I do always love Antonio's acting, because I know it's a weird thing. Whenever there's like an emergency scene, when you have to look at people when they're running, because that shows the urgency. And Antonio, she's flat out running. She's sprinting. Yeah, it's more authentic, like rather than like when people are just kind of jogging. Even though they've heard like an emergency scream, but she's like flat out running, and it really sells the scene. If you see what I'm saying.
That was exactly what I was thinking when I watched it. I'm like, that is the run of a mother who's concerned.
It is.
And I just love that quiet gasp. Brady, you know what I mean? Like, you can't even bring yourself to shout in that moment. Your voice is stuck in your throat because this is the worst fear you could ever have, that empty pram.
Right.
And contrasting that look on her face from the moment she just had as she's smiling at her friend, trying to reconnect with him, you know, hoping for a future, letting him know I'm here for you, you know, and I want to get close to you again. And maybe we can start fresh and stuff. And just having that ripped from her in that moment, I'm just like, come on.
Right.
God, it crushed me. I loved Sarah Major did a good job too. Like her reaction, the way she screamed, she's screaming for Trudy, that helplessness of is not what you're expecting to happen. You're a child and you thought the baby was safe, you know, and you took your eyes off her to get some flowers and oh my gosh, you don't know what to do. What is the first thing Patsy does? She screams for the grown-ups in her life. Like, I don't know what to do, you know, and oh my gosh, it makes up for the explosion scene, I think. Like, that's necessary, but it's not very well written. This is incredibly written, well acted, and great way to leave the episode. So, they took the baby. They took the damn baby.
Yeah, and it sets up for, in my opinion, a top 5 classic Trudy the Moody moment for the beginning of next episode.
I don't think moody is the proper word to describe a parent whose child has just been kidnapped.
Technically moody.
No, she's frantic.
It's justified.
She's frantic.
Justified.
Her baby's just been taken.
I think that
Frantic
undercuts
is a mood.
feeling, but
No, moody does not describe that.
It's not how it's described, but that's how everyone in the tribe will be describing it once it's happening.
We'll talk about them dill holes next week.
I have a lot to say about the other people. They're mean. But they hurt my Trudy.
Good episode. I love the way it ends, and my heart was in my throat.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Patsy. I've been a young person having to take care of children,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing fine, but you're still a kid, so you don't always make the best choices, and a little accident like this can happen to a small child in your care, and you feel terrible. You don't know what to do, and I feel bad for everyone across the board in this moment. I mean, this is horrifying. I didn't know what the fallout was going to be, but this is just everyone's worst nightmare. And I just felt so bad for Trudy, because it's like she took that chance to do something nice for herself. And this is why people don't like to leave their kids with anyone, because you don't believe anyone will ever watch or care for them as strongly as you will. And when you take care of someone else's kid, your worst nightmare is something happening to that kid on your watch. Okay, you're entrusting me with your kid, so I gotta do this. And then, of course, Bray staring at the empty pram of his niece, who he barely acknowledges, but now she's gone, and it happened that quick. It happens that quick.
I remember my first response to this scene, because I was taking care of a child Brady's age back then, and just after watching the scene, there were months where I could not let her out of my sight for even a second, because it freaked me out so much.
It definitely is kind of traumatizing, I think. It definitely has the potential to be that for viewers.
And then, years later, I'm just freaking out on Trudy's behalf.
And just to wrap up, what did people think the Chosen were ultimately going to do with Brady?
Remember, I was a dumbass. I didn't connect the Chosen at first. That's so stupid.
I did connect the Chosen.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a Chosen either.
I did think it was a Chosen, but I just wasn't sure because, they had no issue letting people die from the virus, and I was afraid they were going to sacrifice her.
Yeah.
I thought it was just another lunatic that was willing to kind of trade Brady's life for the antidote.
Yeah, I can see that. Even though they're giving it away for free and they're already at the mall, so why would they trade? That doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
It doesn't, but that's what Ebony was doing.
No, she was gonna trade the baby for the formula.
No, but she was she told Bray that she wants it too, so she can make a profit out of it.
Yeah, she wanted the formula.
Why would anyone want it?
She wants the formula, not the antidote, because she can get the antidote. She wants the formula. That's
formula. I mean, formula. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. I could see someone trying to do that.
But yeah, I think on first watching it, I just really assumed that Zoot had something to do with it because of that one stupid reused shot.
Yeah, season 2. It's either season 2 or season 4. That's like the king of reuse shots.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking of all the reused shots in season 4.
Yeah, the cat makes another reappearance.
If I have to see that black van again one more time.
Just stay away from black vans.
That brings Series 2, Episode 8 to a close. Thank you very much to the panel. And if you'd like to take part in a future episode of the podcast, then you can fill out a form over on our website, thetribe.co.uk, or send us a message over on our Facebook page. So we'll see you next time for Episode 9. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.